Sorry, 1 second. Well, welcome to Fight Week. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Been here for a few weeks now, so we're all settled in and just going through the motions and getting ready for the fight pretty much.
Did you come out early specifically for the fight, or were you going to be out here anyways?
We do try and get out for the international fights earlier now. Just get acclimatized, get the sleep all dialed in, and it makes a big difference. We did that for the last fight in Utah, and it's night and day. You know, one week in a different country is not enough.
Is it difficult to not want to go out and party in Vegas while you're here, or you're so dialed in that that's not even a fear?
Yeah, no, we're so. I don't even think we haven't even seen the strip this whole time. We've got a house away from the strip, and but it's usually not the case. You know, I mean, this has been my life since I was 15 years old. I started fighting when I was 15, got in the UFC when I was 19. So all I look forward to is just fighting and training. So that's the first and foremost thing in my mind.
It's been about 4 months since your last fight. Is that about a good time for you, or did you want to get back a little bit sooner, or did you want more time?
No, it's a perfect amount of time considering, you know, everything that was going on in the world. You know, quite a few fights fell through, and even myself, you know, in the past, back 2017, I had a dual hip surgery, so that was like almost 10 months out. So I'm looking to keep the ball rolling, keep active, get at least 3 fights a year, and this fight will mark three fights within 12 months, which is exactly what I want, so it's perfect.
I've heard a lot of fighters say that it's difficult when you have an opponent, or when you know you have a fight, but you don't have an opponent, and it constantly keeps changing. How are you able to keep focused for a fight coming up when maybe you don't know for sure who your opponent is?
For me, it's easy. A lot of fighters, I think, they have their blowout after a fight. You know, they put weight on, they have their training camps necessarily. But for us, I train all year round. I'm within fight fitness. I could be fight fit within 3 to 4 weeks. So we're always ready for a call up, whether it's short notice, whether we get a full training camp. It doesn't really bother us. And if a fight does fall through, again, we're not too phased because we know we're fit. We know we'll get back home. Just keep doing what we're doing, training 2-3 times every day, all year round. And when the UFC come calling, we can answer and jump in and take those short notice fights.
What were your first thoughts when you got this fight? When you got the name, what were you thinking about the opponent?
It's just excitement. Before I even knew it was a co-main event slot, it was it's the kind of fight where one of us is going to go on and fight a ranked opponent next, 100%. I've been in this situation a number of times throughout my career. So I know how to deal with it. You know, I've had fights where I've won those fights. I probably should have got a ranked opponent after, and I settled for someone who wasn't ranked. So, you know, we get the win this weekend. I'm going to sit and wait for a ranked guy to accept, and however long that takes, because getting a win over a guy like Michael, it definitely deserves a ranked opponent after.
You mentioned co-main event. Does this fight week feel any different knowing that it's a co-main event, or is it just like any other fight week?
It's just like any other fight week, to be honest. I fought co-main event before, back in Melbourne, years and years ago, back when I was a lightweight still. It was my last lightweight fight. So, again, I've been here before. It just adds to the experience. You know, 19 fights, second co-main event. Again, being on this, you know, teetering on the edge of getting a ranked opponent. I've been here a number of times, and now it's time to learn from the lessons from the losses and implement them on the night and get the win and start progressing the career.
Last one for me. What kind of fight are you expecting from him? Do you think you'll be able to get in and out of there pretty quick, or are you expecting to have to go the full rounds?
I always expect to go 3 rounds. Anything can happen, you know what I mean? It'd be good to get in and out quick, but I always expect a war every fight that I get into. So, and I've got multiple fight of the night bonuses, so I know I can go into deep waters, get those 15 minutes in, and I know I can knock guys out early in the fight, and I know I can sub guys as well. So however the fight goes, we're ready. It's definitely going to be a striking heavy fight. We're both primarily boxers. It's just whoever can implement their game plan, and we believe that we've strategized, we've got it dialed in, and we just need to do it on the night.
Like you said, you've been here before. You've been in the co-main position before. You know, what does it say to you that the UFC still trusts and knows what they're going to get from you to put you in such a high-profile fight? And you've been doing this for so long. I feel like we've watched you grow up in front of us here in the UFC.
Yeah, exactly right. I grew up in the UFC. I got in the UFC when I was 19, so I had to learn on the job. I had to learn how to fight. I mean, when you're 19, you can't fight. You don't know you don't know how to fight. It's just pure that young cockiness, athletic ability, and just that want to win. Whereas now there's the maturity comes into play. You know, I'm a second degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. So, yeah, like you don't know how to fight when you're 19. So I had to learn how to fight while fighting the best fighters in the world. And we've obviously done something right because the average fight career in the UFC, I think, is like 3 fights in 18 months. And this is my 19th fight in almost 10 years. So I'm on the right track. I'm doing something right. And I'm still yet to hit that peak age. So, which is scary considering I've fought some of the best guys in the world, beaten some of the guys that were supposed to be the next big thing. And I still haven't. I'm not even 30 yet, so it's very promising for me.
Yeah, it's like you said. You know, you look at your age. We've seen you for so long. You know, you almost expect that somebody's gonna be like, oh, he's got to be mid-30s or whatever. You're still what, 29, I think,
29,
right now.
yeah.
You know, so when you think about that, how far more can you still keep improvement? Do you still feel that there's leaps and bounds that you could still go in this game?
Absolutely, both technically, physically, and mentally. You're never going to reach. There's no end goal. You know, there's no fighter in the world that can say that they've reached the end goal and they are the perfect, complete fighter. We can always keep learning and getting better. And I still have massive improvement, which is again a scary thought considering how well I've done so far. And again, haven't hit my peak age, and even mentally, the maturity thing has been the biggest improvement over the years. Being able to stay calm, collected during the fights, being able to fight through adversity. You know, when you're 19 and when you're 20 fighting, getting told you're going to fight BJ Penn if you win this fight, it makes your head this big. And never being in a bad position, let alone getting rocked. The first time you get rocked, that's it, the fight's done. So now, I can get rocked every round, which has happened recently, and I can still fight through that and arguably, win the last round and still fight through to the end. So that maturity, that discipline, motivation definitely comes into play in the older years.
And definitely, I think when people look at your fight style, they know you're going to bring heavy hands out there. You look opposite the cage this event, Morales, he's got big, heavy hands as well. Break him down for me. Where's his dangers? Is it mainly his hands? And if the fight stays standing, and is there some strategy that you're going to work into to try to make sure that the fight goes into your avenue?
Yeah, I mean, we always back ourselves with the boxing. I believe one of the best boxers in the division, and it's a perfect matchup for me. He's very good when he's going forward. He's strong. He likes to bully guys. He's got heavy hips and good takedown defense. But I'm happy to stand up the whole fight, and I'm pretty sure he is too. So the fans can be ready for a lot of hands flying, a lot of hands on, a lot of punches landing, and it's just whoever. I just need to implement the game plan of hit him and not get hit. As simple as that.
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Jake, what advice would you give fighters that are in the UFC right now, like Raw Rosas Jr., he's 18 years old, and there's other fighters who's 19, 20 years old. Like, what advice would you give them, because you came in when you were still a baby?
Yep. The biggest advice is, I wouldn't say don't expect too much. I mean, like John Jones was a champ at 23. He was a very young champ, but he's an exception, I believe. You need to treat your UFC career, for the guys getting young, you need to treat it as a marathon and not a sprint. And once I understood that, that's when I felt like I was going to have longevity in the sport. When I was young and I was like undefeated, 12 or 13 fights undefeated, fighting James Vick and getting told this and that. And that's after my first loss, I thought the career was done. I was like, nah, it's it. Like, I've had my first loss. I'm no good. And then once you realise that those losses are part of the journey, and if it wasn't for those losses, for example, I might have beat James Vick. I might have gone on to fight a bigger opponent, and maybe fighting those ranked guys, I could have lost 3-4 fights in a row. I would have been out of the UFC in my early 20s, and then obviously trying to get back into the UFC is the hard part. So with those losses come lessons, and then you implement those lessons into the next fights, and I attribute that to the longevity. So yeah, treat it as an entire journey, not a quick in and out kind of career.
And then today's the your 8-year anniversary of your win at UFC 293. Can you just reflect on that fight and just how iconic it was fighting in your home state and just that epic arena?
Was that the Ronda Rousey one? Yeah, I can't remember. Honestly, I still can't remember that fight till today because I got kicked in the head in the first round. I got knocked out in the first round pretty much, and then he punched me and woke me up, and then I bashed him for the next 2 rounds, and I ended up winning by a doctor stoppage. So, but yeah, I remember walking out, and then I remember waking up in the ambulance. I woke up and I thought I lost the fight, even though I did an interview with Joe Rogan. I don't remember that. I was shattered. First time Joe Rogan interviewed me, I can't remember it. But yeah, I mean, I've obviously watched that fight back, and I fought Eddie Had again after that. And fighting those big stadium events, it's you know, when you think about it, it seems daunting, but in the moment, it's the best thing ever. Fighting in front of a home crowd that big, it's yeah, you can't explain it to anyone. You have to experience it. But it was definitely a good experience, and I'm glad I got to experience Eddie Had again where I can remember it. So it was good.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I just got one for you.
Yep.
You have more fights in the UFC than he has in his entire professional career. What does that make you think when you hear a stat like that?
It's yeah, it's pretty good. It's a testament to myself and the team what we've done over the years. Obviously, we've done something right along the way to have such an extensive UFC career. But in regards to the fight, it tells me that I have the experience. I have that edge. Like I said, you know, he hasn't seemed to really be put in a bad position, let alone be hurt in a fight. How's he going to respond when that happens? I've been there. I know how to win. I know how to lose. I know how to fight through being rocked. I know how to fight through being caught in submissions. That's something he's going to have to figure out this weekend. But like I said, I've been there. I'm very comfortable in the UFC. I've had so many fights now. It's still obviously a big deal every UFC event, but I feel at home in there. I feel very comfortable. So that's definitely my edge this weekend. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.